We've been in bargaining now for just a bit over a year, and we're bargaining at the same time as 17 other unions in total for a renewal of a collective agreement. And we sit across the table at this stage from the federal conservative government, which has been attacking public services viciously, making serious budget cuts. In the last 3 years, we've lost 20,000 public service jobs and serious cuts in the level and quality of service to Canadians. So our union has been approaching this round of bargaining as an opportunity to try to negotiate in our collective agreement standards and provisions that would help ensure a higher quality of service to Canadians. So for example, we're trying to improve job security provisions and also trying to negotiate minimum service levels as part of the negotiating process. And we're trying to make improvements to the working conditions of our members so that they can also provide better service to Canadians. The federal government, on the other hand, has been using this round of collective bargaining to take away, extract from our collective agreement provisions that have existed for decades, including provisions that provide for the well-being and safety of our members. And specifically, they've targeted our negotiated sick leave provisions. So at this stage, in our collective agreements right now, federal government employees have the right to earn sick leave and accumulate sick leave, and then use sick leave with full income replacement in times of need. The federal government has been now for more than a year attacking these sick leave provisions. They've been accusing our members of abusing the sick leave provisions, and even though all kinds of independent evaluators, including the parliamentary budget officer, have concluded that this is not the case, that there hasn't been any kind of abuse of the sick leave, and that the sick leave use of federal government employees is actually very similar to other groups of workers, except in some sectors of the private sector who have no sick leave benefits at all. But where workers have sick leave benefits, they use them at the same rate as our members. So the Public Service Alliance of Canada, as part of our response to this attack on sick leave, first of all formed a coalition alliance with all the other unions that are also at the bargaining table, and we developed a solidarity pact, and there's an agreement that no union would agree to concessions, that we would all agree to hold the line, maintain our collective agreement provisions, and collectively continue to push for improvements so that quality public services can be maintained in Canada. The federal government, their employer, has been frustrated by this Solidarity Pact, and so just a few weeks ago it decided to use its majority position in Parliament to introduce a law as part of what they call the Budget Implementation Bill. And the section of there's a section called Division 20 of this new law, which will give the Treasury Board, the federal government, the President of the Treasury Board, who's responsible for negotiations with the public sector unions. This law gives him the unilateral and exclusive authority to amend the collective agreements whenever he chooses over the next 4-year period. And this law has been introduced. It's being debated actually right at this moment. It will likely be voted on by both the Canadian Senate and the House of Commons before the end of June and become law. And this does give, as I said, exclusive authority to the Treasury Board to extract provisions from our collective agreement and impose a different sick leave plan, specifically what they call a short-term disability plan, which will effectively be a way of privatizing our sick leave provisions, because what the government intends to do is contract with a private insurance company and force employees to pay premiums to this private insurance company, and it would be through the insurance company that employees would then apply for sick leave. But there would be a period of time where employees would be without any sick leave, without any replacement income in cases of illness. So we've been launching a major campaign in defense of our sick leave provisions, but also against this intrusion in our rights to bargain collectively. Recently, the Supreme Court of Canada reaffirmed its position that collective bargaining is a right that is protected by our Constitution. Specifically, our Constitution includes a Charter of Rights and Freedoms. And within that Charter of Rights and Freedoms, all Canadian citizens have the right to freedom of association. And the Supreme Court of Canada has ruled now twice that the protected right of freedom of association includes the right to unionize, it includes the right to bargain collectively, and it includes the right to strike. So we have a federal conservative government that, irrespective of the fact that it would be against the law to take away our rights to bargain collectively, is proceeding to do so. And this comes just a year after another law that they introduced, which took away effectively our right to strike by giving itself the unilateral authority to designate any federal government employee it chooses essential, and therefore would not have the right to strike, take away the right to strike. So our union is mobilizing the membership to defend our right to bargain collectively, launching a large campaign with the support of the entire trade union movement, and of course we'll also be taking legal action to defend our citizens' rights. So that's the situation that we're dealing with right now in Canada.